Mom, Dad, I'm not throwing shade, but the whole New Year's resolution thing, kind of slipping, no offense. Anyway, my best friend Jenny's dad, crushing it. He uses Blue Apron. He says he ordered one-pan assemble and bake meals and these things called meal kits. They're all super easy to make. He keeps yelling, protein and fiber, baby. Also, the food, we tried it. So good. So maybe you check it out or whatever. Blue Apron. Get $50 off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code STIR50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. I was at Leicester yesterday, enjoying the booming sounds of the away fans in excellent voice and all the lovely goals. But I guess we'll come on to that. How are you, Ed?
I'm very good. I wasn't at Leicester, but I did enjoy all the lovely goals.
They were good, weren't they? I think they were all 3 of them were good, which is nice.
Yeah,
some better than others. But before that, there was Hull.
Yeah, not quite as good.
Goals.
No goals at all. No goals at all. I mean, look, it's I was being facetious in the opening there. There's not been a lot of bore draws at Old Trafford. There's been a lot of frustrating draws. Was this one of them? I mean, it's like 70% possession or something and quite a lot of attempts, but not necessarily the feeling that United were always banging on the door.
No, it was immensely frustrating, but not in the way that, say, Stoke or Burnley was immensely frustrating.
Right.
It was immensely frustrating that United were handed a gilt-edged chance to make ground on their rivals. Like the Tuesday, this was on the Wednesday night, and the Tuesday had just been a spectacular series of results for us. And we sort of really stuffed it up, I thought. It was a fantastic opportunity. Liverpool had lost to Swansea. City and Tottenham had drawn with each other. That was a little bit before that. It was the Arsenal losing to Watford, Liverpool drawing with Chelsea. It was that,
right?
And Spurs drawing away at Sunderland. And
well, the frustrating thing again about those draws with Stoke, Liverpool, and Hull is that other teams have dropped lots of points. Other rivals, for Champions League places have dropped lots of points, and United just didn't seem to be able to capitalise. And it's that is deeply frustrating. I suppose every other team could be saying the same. That hey, look at those guys, they're failing. If only we weren't failing too.
Yeah, but they failed first. That's the thing. The whole game, the opportunity was there. It was laid out for us on a platter, and we just didn't turn up. And I really thought Mourinho had a lot to answer for in this game. So he didn't bring Martial back into the side. Didn't even bring him on in the second half, which was ridiculous.
No. Apparently 2 assists and a very good second half against Wigan was a failed audition.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the same against Leicester, although, you can point to the result there and argue in his favour. But he started with a 4-3-3, which nobody would really complain about. And of course, we would have loved to have seen Martial, but, Rashford, Ibrahimovic, Mkhitaryan, no one's really complaining about that front three.
It's not like it's a bad front three. It's just that on the balance of performances this season, it's not like Rashford is really earning that spot on the left-hand side either, really.
No, Martial has 4 goals and 3 assists in his last 7 starts for Man United. So, then the midfield that we all know and love of Pogba, Carrick and Herrera. And at half-time, I thought he made a massive mistake in taking off Carrick and bringing on Rooney. I mean, first of all, I genuinely think that after the Liverpool and Stoke performance, albeit Rooney contributed directly to the goal in the Liverpool game and scored the equaliser in the Stoke game, he was actually dreadful in both of those performances. So to come to him at half-time again, I think was ridiculous. And we just lost all our shape for 20 minutes at the beginning of the second half.
Right, because there was a very clear shape in the first half. And, well, not only did we lose our shape, but Rooney just totally got in Pogba's zone. I mean, I don't know, where was he playing? Apart from, being dreadful. Because Rooney did have a stinker of a half. And that's not #agenda. He was just bad.
No, that's empirical, data-driven, fact.
And also my eyes.
Yeah.
Neither empirical or data-driven. But, close enough. he stunk. And you're right, he ruined United's shape.
So in the first half, with Carrick doing his thing and kind of covering, it meant that Mkhitaryan, Herrera and Pogba in particular combined to form like this super pressing unit. And it really felt like if we were going to get a goal, it was going to come from us stealing the ball off Hull a long way up the pitch. And, that was happening a lot in the first half. I think we made 11 tackles in the first half and like 7 in the second, which is a pretty substantial drop-off. And I think a lot of that was just about the fact that the pressing game went away. And then that meant that Hull could just sit back in their comfortable banks of 4. And the decision, once he brought Rooney on, he obviously had to replace Jones, although he could have rolled the dice there. Might have felt a bit early to do that and not bring on another centre-back. But anyway, so he lost the substitution there. But the decision to bring Mata on instead of Martial at that point was just it was completely bizarre to me, because a bit of kind of physical energy on either flank. So he took Mkhitaryan off to bring Mata on, and we just had Rooney, Mata, Ibrahimovic in the slow lads go to slow town, and it was just really depressing, I thought.
Yeah, and a lot of the United performance was depressing because as you said, the results the day before had gone our way, and it just wasn't one of those games where you feel like the goal was inevitably coming. As for Rooney, he got a half, he made 20 passes, he had no shots, no dribbles, no tackles, got dispossessed once. And I don't know. It's hard to say anything about him now that doesn't sound like an agenda, since we successfully set the agenda on the Rooney bashing for 3 years. But very, very disappointing. And you'd think it would be the kind of game that would make Mourinho think about dropping him from the squad altogether. Fortunately, illness got in the way when it came to Leicester.
So we had 16 shots to Hull's 6. By the way, Hull could really nearly have nicked it and smashed the ball against the post right later on.
Yeah. I'm not sure that... I mean, that's fair. 16 shots to 6 sounds about right for the balance of the game. United were clearly on top for the whole game in terms... Van Gaal would have said it was... we had control. We were dominating the game.
We were attacking from start to finish.
And the Hull keeper made maybe 3 very good saves. One stunner, and maybe 3 or 4 very good saves. But not all of those were great chances for United by any means.
No, so the United's XG, for people that care about those things, is 1.4 in that game, which is okay, it's not bad, and Hull's was very, very low indeed. But a huge amount of that XG, of course, came from the Mata chance. And, I believe this is a real quote, in that I've heard reputable people use it. It's hard to believe it's a real quote, but Zlatan apparently saying their keeper was making saves for the camera, and that the save from Mata was not a great save, it was just a terrible shot. Which is amazing if he really said
and maybe
that.
Fair as well, yeah. I mean, look,
yeah.
Given that Mata is so composed in front of goal normally, that is unusual for him, I'd say, right? You don't really associate Juan Mata with missing sitters, so maybe we can forgive him. But it was a big chance, and perhaps in many of these games, United have drawn 9 games this season. In many of them, you could probably talk to big chances that United have missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
The worst, depending on how you calculate it, is either the third worst or the worst shots to goals conversion rate in the Premier League. Yeah,
so it's not good either way, is it? And this game was just... The thing is, it's I saw a lot of people say, you can't blame them. Well, I put on Twitter that I thought this one was on Mourinho, and lots of people were like, well, it's not his fault Mata missed that chance. And I kind of think that's sort of reasonable. But then I also think, well, it is his fault that they only created one really good chance all game. It's not entirely his fault, but he plays a big part in that. And it's also... the onus is on him to consider the possibility of taking Zlatan Ibrahimovic off the pitch occasionally when he's clearly playing terribly. He did much better against Leicester, but this was the worst that we were seeing during his kind of dry spell earlier in the season. I mean, overall, his contribution has been fantastic to United this season, but the game against Hull, he was dreadful, I thought.
Yeah. But, I'm not so worried about the odd dreadful performance from Zlatan because I think his level of consistency is decent. I mean, I think the thing that gets me is that, it does allow for a certain type of defensive strategy. I know we've talked about this on many occasions before, but it definitely does. It doesn't mean Zlatan's a bad player and you take away his goals and maybe United would be in a much worse position or maybe others would have started scoring because, it just allows two defenders to sit deep against him. Now, Mourinho tried to change that against Leicester, and I guess, given the result, he can point to success there. He went to two up front. You could change it in another way, which is to play with two fast attacking wide players and two attacking fullbacks. But he seems very reluctant, very, very reluctant to do that, to the point that his treatment of Shaw and Martial in particular is starting to look a bit odd, isn't it? But, so he changed it up, recognising that United have a problem, where Zlatan is 2 against 1 all of the time, and he's just not quick enough to play the ball in front of him, so he's always waiting for other people to catch up with him. So, it is a challenge because it's definitely a pattern. Yeah, Zlatan he's got 20 goals this season in all competitions, which is more than many people expected. Of course, I definitely predicted he wouldn't get 20 goals in all competitions, so I haven't lost that one yet, honest. He scored more than I thought, although perhaps the performances haven't been, that different than I was expecting. But, he's a great player, but there are consequences for United, and I don't think we fixed it all the time, and couldn't possibly say we have fixed it because there have been too many games like the Hull game, sadly.
And it's almost like the problem is that the system, the compromise you make for Zlatan is well worth making when he has a good game because he does so much. It's not just the goals, but there's almost always a goal when he has a good game. But it's also like his link-up play is phenomenal. The stuff that United try around the edge of the box, this version of United, in terms of interplay with each other, is on a completely different level to that it's been since Fergie left, and maybe a little while before that too, I guess the last time we were playing this kind of football around the box, I mean, obviously a much more consistent and higher level was 2009. So, it is well worth having Ibrahimovic in the side when he's playing well. But when he plays poorly, kind of stinks the place out. You mentioned Luke Shaw briefly. I think Mourinho's treatment of Shaw has just been... I just think he's just getting this one terribly, terribly wrong. But that's fine. It's Mourinho. There's always going to be some compromise. And it's a shame that this is it. Because Shaw played against Wigan, a very low level of opposition, but he was really good in that game and helped United's overall shape a lot, I thought. And since then, he's played Blint against Hull, proper stunk the place out. Rocco at left-back for a half and Blint for a left-back for a half against Leicester, neither particularly effective. And it's like, the solution to your problems is right there, but you're too, Luke Shaw fails the alpha male head-butting competition with Jose Mourinho, so he doesn't get to solve that problem. It just seems such a shame. Yeah,
and I guess we don't know all the details behind it, but it certainly seems odd because Shaw is apparently fit. So just not being selected at all. And Martial's not far out of that sort of being discarded syndrome. And look, fair play, I suppose. Mourinho's very clear. Players he doesn't want. And it's beginning to look like Shaw has no future at this club. That may be the same for Martial too. A real shame because those are two mega talents.
Yeah. A mega... it's so maddening. There's so much fun and right about having Mourinho in charge, and just these things are just so... But like you say, I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in the narrative of what you believe about these things. But like you say, we are not in possession of all the facts. So Martial today tweeting, "Don't believe what you read in the papers, come on United," sort of thing. But it's not what we're reading in the papers that most people are worried about with Martial. It's he's definitely not playing. There's no alternative facts that say he's playing.
I thought you weren't going to make mention.
Damn it. I can't believe I did it. As I was saying it, I was like, no.
Oh, dear. So, any other observations? Apart from just how important those 2 points could be, it was just another one of those frustrating, disappointing, annoying, games that United should have done much better in. Definitely have the players to do much better in. But it's a pattern. 29% shots or shots on target to shots converted, or 12% total shots. So 285 shots United have had this season. It's a lot. It's a lot more than anyone else. But the conversion rate of total shots to goals is 12%.
My only observations from the whole game was that Paul Pogba was quite good. Used the ball really well. Marcus Rocco was quite good at central defence. And Herrera continues to be at least quite good. So, they could kind of claim plenty of credit. I mean, a reasonable amount of credit, but a real one to forget that game. Really, really, really frustrating. I kind of tweeted it's the worst result of the season apart from all the other terrible ones. But in a way, that was the game that kind of hurt the most this season. And maybe the Chelsea 4-0 runs it close because that was such a kind of humiliation, really. But this one was just such a waste. Although, of course, then Hull went and smashed Liverpool. So maybe it's a great draw against a side on the up,
Yeah. No. So at least Leicester was better.
Yes, much better.
Much better. First 15, 20 minutes was very low quality, wasn't it? I mean, it's not just United. I mean, Leicester's been low quality all season, but there was some really scrappy stuff and no real patterns of the game. And I guess sort of 20 minutes in or so, United at least got hold of the football and were playing it. Only the 3 shots on target before the goal. So not exactly smashing the door down, but at least we're getting the football around and moving it. And then one mega cock up from Leicester. One absolutely blinding piece of skill from Henrik Mkhitaryan.
I'd nearly said to the person sitting next to me at that game, literally moments before the goal, if anything good happens today, it's Mkhitaryan that's going to do it. And I think we had a little discussion on WhatsApp. I thought United were kind of growing into that game before the goal. There was the Rashford chance, and I think maybe Rashford, in fact, had 2 chances. But yeah, it was bringing Mkhitaryan, switching back from 4-4-2 to 4-2-3-1, moving Rashford to the left, bringing Mkhitaryan central. That changed the game, really, wasn't it? And then our good players just started to play, I thought, and Mkhitaryan was like breathtakingly good for that 10-minute spell where we scored those 3 goals.
Yeah, I mean, he had a very good game all round. He did actually shoot straight at the keeper. Kasper Schmeichel managed to dive out the way and deflect it into the top corner. So it looked very spectacular, but he may have got slightly fortunate with the final finish. But his run and close control was absolutely outstanding, in his ability to beat the last defender. And keep the ball under control was Mkhitaryan as we know him, because he's had a few flat games recently, I think, after a sort of, re-entrance into the side and the burst of goals and great performances, a few flat ones. But this was good against Leicester, very good. Yeah,
very good. Just very enjoyable all round to watch. It all happened, the whole Leicester game was basically a 10-minute spell, wasn't it? Like, there was nothing happened in the first 20 minutes. I mean, Leicester probably could have taken a bit more advantage of how slow United were to start. But the switch of formation got United right back into it. And then the fact that Zlatan scored a second just before half-time, I mean, that was like, you really could have just played Nessun Dorma and all gone home at that point, couldn't you? There was...
Yeah, kill the game stone dead. And Mourinho said afterwards that, United were in total control after the 3rd goal, he said, but really it was after the 2nd goal. There's no way back for Leicester. They're just not in the kind of form that they once were, and being on the front foot doesn't suit them. Didn't suit them last season, definitely doesn't suit them this season. They've got a problem, Leicester, haven't they? I mean, they're seriously looking at possible relegation, and given the way the players are currently performing, you wouldn't want to say Ranieri's lost the dressing room, but he's lost something, because there's some absolute stinkers of performances out there at the moment for Leicester.
Yes, they're in such a strange position, aren't they? That, I think we talked a bit about this last week, but the extent to which they were they've lived a kind of unbelievable dream. The normality of the following season, it must just be so hard to do anything, to get yourself up for anything. But they were a total shambles, and I wonder whether Ranieri will walk away at some point and go, look, they need a new manager in. They're obviously not going to sack me. I'm going to walk away and let someone else take over.
Well, they might sack him. This is football, after all, you know. Chelsea sacked their manager the season after they won the Premier League, so, you know, maybe Leicester could too. You know, you would hope that Ranieri has enough of banker credit, and I really do hope they get out of trouble. Not that I have any great love for Leicester, but it would be a pretty sad story for the champions to get relegated. And the thing is, before the game, I'd mentally convinced myself this was the perfect game for Leicester to just get back to the basics, get back to defending solidly and trying to hit United on the break. You know, the team they put out there, apart from Ndidi, who cost something like £18 million anyway, so he's not, you know, it's not like he's a freebie they found. You know, Ndidi for Kante and Musa is playing down the left-hand side rather than Albrighton. It's basically the side that won the Premier League title last season. You know, it's not, they haven't been decimated. Just every single one of their players has lost at least 5%, some of them quite a lot more than that.
Yeah, and they haven't been decimated, except in as much as losing N'Golo Kante leaves you decimated. Because, like, if Chelsea suddenly lost N'Golo Kante now, they'd look half the team they are, you know. Like, the kid is unbelievable. I say kid because of his little face, you know. He's
funnily enough, actually, and this is someone sent this to me on Twitter. If you look at his stats against Ander Herrera stacks up very, very well. You know?
Yeah, no doubt.
but you know,
N'Golo Herrera. It should be his new nickname.
Kante's obviously a very critical influence. You know, and I guess we speculated last season if they lost any one of Mahrez, Kante, or Vardy through the season, would their performances drop off? They didn't lose any of them, and their performances never dropped off. I mean, they've fallen off a cliff this season. Is absolutely abysmal. You know, and just some of the goals United scored where, I think, was it the final goal? Is it Mata's goal where Morgan's standing there keeping everybody onside and his teammates are 10 yards further forward? I mean, it's just some, exaggerating, but just some awful, awful defending. You know, would have called it schoolboy, but, you know, 15-year-old kids know how to keep a line. It's like rule number one of defending, keep a line.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of the defenders who had any active participation in that goal did terribly, and yet still, like, it was a beautiful goal from United's point of view, and sort of speaks to a kind of interesting tactical thing for United, which is that having Mata and Mkhitaryan on the pitch together does open up the possibility space for things like that to happen. You know, there's a sort of, I don't know. It was a weird decision, I thought, to put Mkhitaryan central and have Mata outright. That's almost counterintuitive, but you can't argue that it absolutely worked a treat. Mata's guile in linking up with Mkhitaryan is much is wonderful to have on the pitch, but the lack of speed is real serious when it comes to trying to keep up with him. Anyway,
yeah. Martial didn't get on in this game either, and just to rub salt in the very deep wound, Ashley Young came on instead. Man with a big United future there.
Yeah, very, very peculiar decision, unless he's saving Martial, you know.
Yeah.
Oh dear. They were warming up together for ages, and it was just like, well, we know which one of these two's coming on, don't we? It was a bit of, the whole situation is a bit sad, really, but
it is. Look, a very important win for United, though, given some of the other results recently, and now within a win of being in the top four.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? This game also came with the kind of guarantee of closing the gap. Because of the results that had gone in. And for a second, it looked like City might be drawing against Swansea, although I never quite believed that dream. Once
yes,
Swansea
I think you said, you fully expect Aguero to score.
Yeah,
well, it was Aguero, no, but
yeah.
Jesus. So apparently, if you say Jesus with an Irish accent, that's the correct pronunciation.
Jesus.
Yeah,
nice.
Nice.
He's a player, isn't he? Like,
he looks a very good player. I don't dwell too much on City's players. Yeah, it's not a good space to be in.
It's not what we do, is it?
No, definitely not. But yeah, I mean, very fortunate City to get away with the fact that they took the free kick from absolutely nowhere near where the offence was committed and with a rolling ball.
Yeah, the refs are all against us. That's what it is. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But
look, in any case, look, it's 5 points between United and City. So 5 points. 4 points between United and City, 5 points between United and Tottenham. So 5 points between second and sixth. Chelsea obviously miles out in front, but this is going to be a very, very tight race for the top four now.
I mean, we are so lucky that Arsenal and Liverpool have just decided to make the race for fourth place really interesting. Because if they'd put the pedal to the metal, then we'd be out of sight because we've just dropped so many opportunities. But Liverpool have been completely dire, as have Arsenal.
So is the Klopp myth now exploded?
Well, I'm not sure I'm having that, really.
I mean, he got a couple of lucky titles with Borussia while Bayern were in transition. And yeah, it's been a total mess since then, hasn't it?
So whatever you do, don't go back and listen to all the episodes of the Rantcast where Ed says he'd like Klopp to be United manager.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know, Adobe came out with that new sort of beta product where they can basically take audio and then synthesize a voice, and it's impossible to tell the difference between them. That was that test. Anywhere where I'd said Klopp should be United manager, is someone inserting it, not me.
Clearly, that's what's happened.
Yeah, and then Wenger, well, he's been a fraud for 15 years, hasn't he? And I think I'm quite safe in saying that. They're still in the FA Cup, but they got Bayern in the Champions League, and they're clearly not going to win the Premier League this season. So they have just the FA Cup to chase. Another failed season at Arsenal. Arsenal fan TV must be fun. It's so fun. Gary Neville wants to go on it.
Yeah, we had a question. That's why I was slightly absent for a second because I'm trying to find the question that we had about Neville and Arsenal fan TV, but I can't. But somebody, so apologies to you if you were the person that asked this question. But Gary Neville has had a spat with Arsenal fan TV. And I can't quite believe this, but I think I might be 100% on the side of Arsenal fan TV here. Because, Neville was basically saying that the kind of angry Wenger out mentality among a lot of the kind of regulars on Arsenal fan TV is embarrassing. And I sort of think, actually, it might be entirely appropriate to the way that Arsenal's been run over the last 10 years. And Gary Neville might be just far too obsessed with the idea that you've always got to give all managers all the time. Yes,
he's projecting, isn't he? Given that he got dumped at Valencia quite quickly. I think you need to have another go at Neville on Twitter or something like that, because if you do that, he might come on this podcast and that'd be a good interview.
One day, I feel like we're not that many steps removed from Gary Neville. We must know people that have got ways to get in touch with him.
I'm sure. I know we poke fun at Gary Neville, but I think he's a great broadcaster. Whether you agree with his opinions or not, he's very astute in his sort of analysis, and having an opinion is good because 99% of pundits, their opinion is, not much, is it? And pretty trashy when it's more than not much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with that. It was at Vishak Patel 94 that asked that question. There you go. So, found it.
All right.
But, the main thing that I think about Neville in this is that he's just wrong that Wenger doesn't deserve sacking from Arsenal. Because I think that it's abundantly clear that if your aim is to win the Premier League, it is completely ridiculous to keep Arsene Wenger in charge, given that he's tried over and over and over and over again, producing nothing but abject failure after abject failure.
He's a specialist in it, you might say.
Well, quite.
I'm sure he has really big hands.
Shall we take some listener questions?
Let's do it.
All right. We have got so many listener questions, so we're going to just do them. This is very little quality control filter. I'm just going to get through as many of them as we can. Oh, this is a great question. At Angie LD9 says, Evra said that someone at United didn't like the idea of him returning. Who do you think it was? A bad person. A bad person.
Yes, probably the manager.
No, apparently not. The manager apparently had a conversation with Evra and was all keen on it happening, and someone put the kibosh on it.
Yeah, he's gone to Olympique Marseille with Dimitri Payet.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way we should be playing Patrice Evra at left back. Like, Patrice Evra at left back 3 years ago was a big problem.
Yeah, but he'd be great to have around the club, wouldn't he?
He just sorted Luke Shaw out. Maybe it was Luke Shaw that didn't want him at the club.
Although, maybe it was Pogba and Jesse Lingard because they don't want their Instagram game, kind of challenged.
No way. Paul Pogba is an integral supporting character in Patrice Evra's Instagram world. Like, it would be nothing without the relationship between Pogba and his uncle Pat. At Simpson_Cal said, did United look a bit more out for blood than usual, or was it just lacklustre Leicester making us look good? Great sentence.
Yeah, more the latter, I think. I mean, United were pretty lacklustre for 15, 20 minutes or so. 2 moments, one awful piece of defending and a brilliant piece of quality have really helped United there, and it kind of killed the game. I wonder if it had gone into the second half 0-0, which, we're 2 moments away from it being 0-0, would Leicester have grown into the game? I don't know. Maybe United would have always won that game because Leicester are such a mess at the moment. But I didn't think United were out for blood.
No, except then they sort of developed a taste for it a little bit there, didn't they? For just a 10-minute spell, they went into a kind of vampiric frenzy, and then it all settled down again.
Yeah, the last 40 minutes of that game, no killer instinct.
Maybe not. There was the Mata chance, wasn't there, where he just sort of got the ball near the goalkeeper and was like, all right, I'll just give it back to you.
Yes, that was it's kind of wet. After calling Mata composed finisher, he's given 2 very good examples against Hull, and with that one of maybe he's not quite as composed as I argued he was.
Although he took his finish extremely well, and it was a lovely link up with Mkhitaryan that led to that goal. No, that was composure all over the shop, wasn't it? How do you feel? Now, this is a subject that I feel very under-researched on, but a question from @KKMUFC20 asking about United's treatment of Nobby Stiles. I feel like I'd be reticent to speak too strongly on this just because these stories can often be not quite what they seem in the press. This is exactly the kind of story that gets badly reported, I would say.
Well, it is, yeah. And I don't know is the answer. There were similar accusations over the years about United's treatment of the families of the Munich 58 victims. Of course, the anniversary today as we're recording, a couple of days ago as you actually get this. And I'm not sure how much they were true or false either. The other question is, exactly how much of a responsibility is it of United to look after all the ex-players? Is it only the ones that were good and won trophies, or is it all of them, or is it none of them?
It's a very difficult question, isn't it? I think, I don't know. You feel like it's...
Well, look, I'm quite sure that my employer will not give a damn when I'm old. And if I haven't sorted out my own pension. Not that I'm saying that should be United's policy. I'm just saying that's normal employment practice.
It is, yeah. But there is something about football that is just so far away from normal, isn't there? The kind of emotional connection between the clubs as an institution and when Nobby Stiles played for Man United, they weren't run as a business, were they? They were run as an institution. So anyway. Shout out to friend of the Rantcast @Sean Hamster for asking the question about whether we could get Gary Neville on since he's willing to do Arsenal Fan TV. And @Greg Silent says, how much of a legend is Evra? And I'm going to take that question seriously, as opposed to kind of, how much of a legend is Evra? How much of a legend at Man United is Patrice Evra? I would say medium.
Oh, wow. I mean, look, he's won a Champions League, a whole bunch of league titles. For a short while, he was probably the best left back in the world.
Yes, for a short while, definitely.
Yeah, for a short while. He didn't sustain it. But he's, I think, in my watching lifetime, so since the early 80s, he's probably in the top 2 left backs that United have had during that time. Yes, Dennis Irwin and him.
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong, older listeners who, like me, might have forgotten our best left-backs of the 80s. I think he probably was in the top two, so I think he's been a very good player for United. Legend, I don't know. It's a very highly used word, isn't it?
I would say very good player at his peak at United, like exceptional player, and absolutely mega cult hero, like mega cult hero status. But where the line blurs between cult hero and legend, that I'll leave it for each individual to decide. Ongoing debate between friends, says at DJ Bigmore. In their prime, who's the better player, Rooney or Tevez? I think that you could end your ongoing debate between your friends by just saying it's literally Rooney by miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles.
Tevez, decent player, fantastic work rate and effort and application while he's on the pitch, when he could be bothered to get on the pitch and he wasn't on strike. But yeah, Rooney, much, much better player by a long, long way. Tevez, of course, who's gone to China, came out of having a stinker of a season at Boca, and is now making buckets and buckets of cash. Hey, Wazza, I'm not saying that you have to go do this. I'm just saying there's an option for you.
Talking of buckets of cash, at Oye Creations, does Mourinho plan to make millions of pounds by selling Rooney, Shaw and Martial? He does like making money for his clubs.
Yeah. It's funny, he made a lot of money this winter, didn't he? Selling Memphis and Schneiderlin for very, very good fees. And if the rumours are to be believed, then some big money departures coming up in the summer in order to fund one Antoine Griezmann. So they say.
My cousin, Antoine.
He's not, though, is he? No.
He's not, but my mum's cousin does know his dad, I found out. So, there is that. That's close, right? That's practically family. Absolute icon and legend of, that word is much overused, but literally a legend in the world of illustration. At Stan_Chow says, Mkhitaryan's arguably the best number 10 at United right now, and should he probably start every game in the number 10 position behind Zlatan?
Well, he certainly has a level of dynamism, doesn't he? He's a very different number 10 than Mathematics. Matters your classic number 10, get the ball, create shapes and spaces in the final third, and Mkhitaryan will run at players. Very, very different. I'd like to see both of them inside somehow. But if Zlatan's playing, I do think we need to surround him with pace, which kind of suggests that Mata shouldn't play. I love Mata in and around the final third. He makes things happen.
Yeah, and the problem, I think we've discussed this before in regard to Mata playing a number 10, but the big problem with playing a number 10 is that you have to not play Carrick, really, at that point. And there's a cost to that in terms of what Pogba can do. But against teams that we are much better than, Pogba and Herrera can very clearly do that job between the two of them, like no bother whatsoever. I think lots of time for Mkhitaryan at number 10 would be pretty exciting, especially since it seems to kind of work with Mkhitaryan at 10 and Mata on the right. Because Zlatan kind of ends up surrounded by a pace because the two nippy lads that, playing at number 10 and on the left get in and amongst it, and Valencia comes up supporting, and, another assist for Valencia to Zlatan. It kind of works. At Don McDowell says, is there still time for Wayne Rooney to move to China before the end of the season? I believe the answer to that question technically is absolutely yes.
Yeah. The Chinese window doesn't close until the end of this month.
Yeah. I still would. It would be an enormous shock. There were stories, like big stories, doing the round, weren't there?
There were. I don't really see the point unless whichever club was desperate enough to want him, offered huge amounts of cash. He can still contribute, clearly. Look at the goal against Stoke. So it would seem not in United's benefit to remove that potential.
But then he wouldn't come on all the time and stink the place up. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, true. Good argument. Well made.
Ginger. Oh, you mentioned earlier Morgan and Memphis, and I was just thinking the two of them seem to be on very different career trajectories. Like Schneiderlin is slotted into that Everton midfield beautifully and looked like kind of like the upper mid-tier Premier League player he was born to be, whereas Memphis is just like he was given 2 out of 10 by L'Equipe the other day, and
Yeah, but that's L'Equipe who give everyone 2 out of 10.
They're just very sneery in French about the whole thing. At Ginger_Prince28 says, who's your money on to score in the 1-1 draw against Watford on Saturday?
Oh, ouch. Ouch. Fellaini.
Yeah.
Own goal.
Yeah, okay. Do you see Martial staying beyond this season if things don't change between him and Mourinho? It says at 7flowers_.
He's just too talented to throw him away. I mean, it would be insane. Insane. I'm really hoping that Mourinho is doing whatever Mourinho does and will somehow coax Anthony Martial back out again. It doesn't look like it, but
that's not what's happening. I thought that was what was happening with Mkhitaryan, but I do not think that's what's happening this time. At written off _MUFC, James has a question which has a hidden meaning. Is Kevin De Bruyne or Mkhitaryan? And the reason that he asked this is because he and I are battling it out at the top of a weekly head-to-head fantasy football draft league. And I had Kevin De Bruyne in my squad, and I traded him to a team for Mkhitaryan last week. I put the offer in quite a long time ago, just when Mkhitaryan was back on the scene, and he finally accepted it before the last series of games, which means I'm up 9 points on the deal so far because he got 9 more points than De Bruyne this week. But we'll see how many points the two of them get by the end of the season. But obviously the answer is Mkhitaryan. He's United.
Decent player, De Bruyne. It's pity for City that none of their defenders can actually defend. Otherwise, they'd be winning the league by miles.
We switched to a 4-3-3 to get the best out of Pogba. Does it make sense to go back to a 4-2-3-1 to play Mickey at 10? Asks at Paolo_Cruz. And I think the answer to that is sometimes.
Yeah, probably right, per your previous answer.
At Atishay_J says, does Mood changing formation mid-game suggest he still doesn't know his best team?
No, I think he's always been a reactive coach, hasn't he? So perhaps a bit overreactive in his earlier days where he made substitutions, 3 of them at 20 minutes or something like that. But he's always been that. He's not one, when he finishes coaching, I don't think anyone will say he defined a new style of football or anything like that. Maybe parking the bus, although... To be fair, there have been teams doing that for 100 years. He's famed for his great in-game management and his ability to react and understand what's happening. I don't think he's always worked this season, but there definitely have been occasions when it did.
And Leicester was one of those.
Yeah.
At Liz Worsley, friend of the show, we've not heard from for ages. Liz says, 1, should we put in a cheeky bid for Aguero? And 2, will Zlatan play next season?
Well, yeah, I think the club already said they were going to take the option of 1 year. I know that Zlatan's agent's been in the press saying he really loves Naples or some nonsense like that. I don't think there's an option to renegotiate the deal if he's looking for extra money. Maybe he's just on autopilot,
Yes. Yeah, all my players have got massive offers for them, and they definitely want to go.
Exactly.
Huge offers. Come on. Talking of which, at Yemi_Nator says, did yesterday just confirm that the New England Patriots are what we used to be? #Fergie time.
I hate American football.
I don't understand this.
You brought it up. I tell you why. I hate it. It's the most contrived sport. Apart from, like golf ball, where they kick a football around a golf course or some, other nonsense mashup like that. It's the most contrived sport in the history of sport. And all sports contrived.
There's 2 teams and they got to run the ball into each other's end zones.
Which they do for 11 minutes total in a 4.5-hour game.
It's brilliant. It's a great
because
sport.
There's almost no... And they do it for 4 seconds on average. Each play, average 4 seconds.
But the beautiful upside to that, it's like Test cricket. You get to really absorb everything that happens because, you see it a few times and there's plenty of time for analysis and, you see things in the replays that you wouldn't be able to see in the kind of frantic real time. I love it.
That's the other thing. 17 minutes on average of replays for the 11 minutes of action. It is an advertising platform in which sport occasionally gets in the way.
Oh, you see, the thing about that position is... Yesterday was one of the most intensely pure moments of sport in the history of sport. So this is the worst time ever to talk about American football not being this kind of intensely sporting endeavour.
No, I didn't. Did I say any of that? I'm saying there's 11 minutes of total action. So I'm glad you enjoyed watching the adverts for 4.5 hours.
I watched it
in order to get your 11 minutes. You know what?
I watched it on the BBC. There were no adverts. It was fine.
When I was younger, I used to watch the American football when it was on whatever channel it was. Maybe it was Channel 4. The days of the fridge and all that. And it's not been the same since the fridge retired. But I realised why it was good then, because I was watching the highlights show. When you show 9 minutes of highlights for an 11-minute match, it looks good. Of course, it looks wonderful. Then the actual 4.5 hours of bollocks.
You like
that you
Test
have to
cricket,
suffer.
Ed. You like Test cricket. This is I mean, could a sport be more contrived? They have sandwich breaks. Like it's. Anyway, the New England Patriots seem to be evil from what I can work out, so it was a bit of a shame that they won, but congratulations to all New England Patriots fans listening. I bet a lot of you are just as upset about the prevailing political wind as those of us that wanted the Falcons to win for purely that reason.
Yeah.
At Yugal Subedi says, Euro Truck Simulator 2 or American Truck Simulator? Never played Euro Truck Simulator 2. Have played an hour of American Truck Simulator, so we'll go with that one.
Is this what I think it is?
Oh my God. I mean...
It's a truck simulation game. What? Do you just drive a truck around?
It's what you think it is, only maybe worse. Like, maybe more boring than you could imagine.
So in the world of automation and automated cars, which is coming very soon actually, especially to trucks, Uber bought a company called Otto last year for about $1 billion, and the European Union's funding a ton of research in this area. There won't be any truck drivers, so this is going to be an even more boring game.
Well, it'll be a kind of nostalgia trip at that point, won't it? Like back to the days of truck drivers. I heard that...
Although there will be actual real people with joysticks somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah. I heard also that there would be like a lot of the local delivery would still happen manually, and it would just be the kind of long haul trips that were done.
No, because then it goes to the hub where all the mini drones either flying or the little, I don't know whether you've seen the Starship. Check these out, Starship drones. They're like a big hamper on wheels. Yeah. Humans, you will not have a job soon, sorry.
But with more time to play American Truck Simulator, which is weirdly soothing. It's like Elite, but in trucks and without fighting.
While we're on the subject, we're done for. It's not too long. I already talked about that Adobe program that can synthesize voice. Well, I met one AI company in San Francisco, Finnish company. Everyone relocates out there. Who do automated trailers and stuff like that from films. They just take the prevailing highlights. So they'll just be able to use the AI to work out what to talk about this week, and it'll be much better than listening to our guff.
Rooney is very bad. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is too slow. Daily Blind is good. No, Daily Blind is bad. That's it. We don't like right-wing politics. There you go. That's it. Just synthesize the Rantcast. Nuance.
Wow. Narrative.
Narrative. At Mark Joseph Evans says, "Hi Ed and Paul, great show. Thanks, Mark. My question is, if you loaned your pet guinea pig to the club, who would look after it the best and the worst?"
Won't matter. The best. Come on. Come on.
Obviously.
Unless he hugged it to death.
There would be no place safer in the world for a guinea pig than in the arms of Juan Mata.
And the worst, I think, Chris Smalling, because he's just a little bit absent-minded, isn't he?
I'm sure I had something to do today. Oh, well, it's probably fine. I mean, I'd also be slightly worried about Zlatan, like when the guinea pig was getting loads of attention, and Zlatan would be like, why are you paying attention to this small thing and not me? I don't know why he's Russian.
Yeah, close enough. So we've got a game coming up not against Hull. I don't understand this. Don't we play them every other week?
Can we play? We don't want to play them every week. We do want to play Leicester. Why can't we play Leicester every week?
We play Watford, who are doing all right this season, and probably one of the more ignominious performances of United's campaign down at Vicarage Road. Wasn't it? Not good. The end of Luke Shaw's honeymoon with Jose Mourinho, I think that one. Barely seen a game since. But they're doing okay, Watford. They've had some decent results. They're not in the mix for relegation at all. They changed manager, but they're getting out of it what they need. It shouldn't be a difficult game for United, really, because Watford concede a load of goals, but we don't score them at home, apparently.
Well, you say Watford concede a load of goals, but they've not conceded a lot of goals really lately. Like in 2016, in 2017, you're right, they've shipped loads of goals. They haven't shipped that many in the last couple of weeks, and they beat Arsenal away from home. So, we probably shouldn't be going into this thinking it's a done deal. I mean, I feel like at this point, it's really important to talk about the extent to which Walter Mazzarri looks like a direct cross between Dustin Hoffman and the guy from 30 Rock, Alec Baldwin. It's amazing. Depending on...
Is this where you do your Rain Man impression?
Yeah, but he looks more like Alec Baldwin. I can't really do an Alec Baldwin impression. So.
Just do him as Donald Trump and you're all right. Look, they won at the weekend. Although Burnley did their very best to help Watford win by getting a bunch of players sent off. A great win at Arsenal. They obviously gave up the FA Cup, made a ton of changes, and Millwall pulled off a shock, with the late goal. They've had the results you'd expect of a mid-table side. Got spanked by Tottenham, but generally doing enough. And I think Igalo didn't score for a ton of games. Didn't he just go to China or something? Was it Igalo they sold? Yeah, for like £20 million. Wow.
Lovely bit of business, that, isn't it? Because he dropped completely off. I like Troy Deeney was asked about whether he'd go, and he was like, yes, definitely, I would definitely go.
buy me.
Almost exactly what he said.
Well, who wouldn't for 300 grand a week?
I think that they're not going to pay Troy Deeney 300 grand a week, to be fair.
Do you not think they need Shanghai SPING cast? No. Just saying.
Listen,
if
the money's right, we'll do it. A kind of mixed season. I mean, I think Troy Deeney's a really good player, and Capu's obviously had an excellent impact since coming from Tottenham. Those are the kind of big stories in the Watford side. Holebas leading the assist table there, which is good because you can do the "I ain't no Holebas girl, ain't no Holebas girl." I can't make a way of that making sense as a football chant.
That's bad. That's bad. Tom Cleverley's there, of course. He's gone there and he said he wanted to be a footballer again, which is interesting. And he branded it TC23. Or no, he didn't. But I hope Tom Cleverley can find himself a career because he's been a bit wayward in the last couple of seasons.
All of his
much like his former nemesis Jack Wilshere.
Tom Cleverley's been a bit wayward in his all the games since his first 5 games in professional football. He was all right at Watford on loan, wasn't he, the first time round? But, I mean, that's actually a really good signing for them because he's a completely competent Premier League midfielder. They're a mid-table side. Their ambitions are not any higher than that for now. Hopefully he can put in a massive shift and earn a reputation again. But I don't know. It seems a bit like a bit of a long shot, that. It's interesting that, he's been kind of almost bumped by another Man United reject who's better than him coming, It's like we're just selling all our players to Everton one at a time and then one out, one in policy sort of thing.
Well, it's been a well-travelled route, that one, down the years, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of amazing that Watford are 10th in the Premier League at the moment because they are not... I mean, they've pulled off some good results and they were very good against us the first time round, but they've had long periods this season where they've been pretty dire. And there is this real quality divide between the top... I don't know, 6 or 7, if you can't. Everton are kind of hover between the two. Then you've got West Brom in a kind of little one-man Pulis bubble of their own. And then there's the rest of the division. It's just quite a lot of bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, underperforming against last season and quality of squad are West Ham, Southampton and Leicester. And that might say something about Watford's position, I suppose. They shouldn't get into a relegation battle, Watford. I think they're good enough and direct enough to get the points that they need. I mean, down at the bottom now, it is super tight. It's 2 points between 15th and 20th. And some really, really bad teams there. Some really bad teams.
We should probably, given how much of our lives we've dedicated to telling people David Moyes is bad, we should probably do him the honour of mentioning the fact that he pulled off a 4-0 win against Crystal Palace in the weirdest result that anyone... did anybody see that result coming? Is there a single human who bet before the game started on Sunderland 4, Crystal Palace 0?
Well, there probably is. Moyes must have been disappointed, though. He was only going there to make it hard for them.
On this day thing in Facebook, when I first started at Bleacher Report, I put a lot of my articles on my Facebook page, and I got a notification telling me that an article that I'd written just before the Fulham game, it was like so many years ago, so many years ago today, 2014, this day in 2014. And in it, I basically said David Moyes has to stop blaming luck, and if they don't beat Fulham, he has to convince fans that he's got some sort of long-term plan beyond just get the ball out wide and hit crosses in. Before the Fulham game.
Yeah, very nice.
I was quite pleased about that. Anyway.
Quick note on talking about Sunderland on Adnan Januzaj, who had a very, very good game against Crystal Palace, playing at number 10. 2 assists and looked a natural in that position.
Yeah, there's no chance he's coming back to United, is there?
No, but it was nice to see a lad with apparently a bad attitude, but lots and lots and lots of talent doing well. Yeah, no,
absolutely. I've got a lot of time for Adnan Januzaj as a player, and it is really nice. But the Griezmann rumours, as if we weren't already pretty sure that Januzaj wasn't coming back. The Griezmann rumours. There is no room for Januzaj in the squad already, and if Griezmann comes, there's extra no room.
One other notable note from Palace 0, Sunderland 4. John O'Shea, about 97 now, playing as a sweeper.
Lovely.
It's probably the only position on the pitch he hasn't played before.
Yeah, there were clips of him in goal doing the rounds this week because that was notable. And I think we should end the show. You mentioned earlier it's the anniversary of Munich, and it's obviously a huge thing in the history of United, and the fact that a team this year or end of last year you kind of see it happen, and there's something that makes it all the more real for seeing it happen in your lifetime, because almost like anything that happens before you're born is quite hard to make seem real. Like, we're not very good at that as humans. But it's all very real and very contemporary. And you just imagine what the people that went through, fans, the club, the whole thing. And it is important, and it is worth the kind of respectful but not maudlin approach that the club took to it. I thought was excellent. And special mention to Phil Jones for not putting up any branded memorial tributes, and in fact deleting last year's. It only took him literally a year.
Well done, Phil. So yeah, lesson learned, I hope. Right, well, I guess that's us for this week. We'll be back after United 0, Watford 1 next weekend.
Is that your official prediction?
No, I think we'll beat them. But,
do you really?
Yeah, I always predict this, don't I? I've had some stupid predictions recently, so I'm going to be realistic and say 2-1 to United.
Okay. This is one of those where what you actually think is going to happen versus what you want to happen are fighting in your head. All right, I'm going to say that we're going to win 2-0. And you might be able to hear from my tone of voice that I don't fully believe that. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure Watford can shut up shop, but there's been plenty of sides I didn't think could shut up shop. Have done very well against United doing that at Old Trafford. So we'll see. Yeah. I guess in the meantime, if there's nothing else, no guest interviews this week, you can catch me on Twitter at United Rant. You can catch Paul absolutely everywhere. At UTD Rantcast, on Newmaxit, on Bleacher Report, probably on Arsenal Fan TV.
Oh, the dream gig.
Why not? You should get yourself down to the Emirates and just see if you can mosey on in there just for a laugh.
I genuinely think Troops is up there with the best pundits. Like, I think he's, he reads the game, that man. Anyway, or smells the game, as Rio said about the Super Bowl yesterday, when he was doing a little bit of punditry on the BBC, because they don't show ads, so extra room for really in-depth analysis. Anyway,
really, 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 really in depth. They should have Alan Shearer doing NFL.
Oh no!
I'd like to see that for 3.5 hours.
No, please, no. Right. Thank you very much for listening. If you're a Patreon backer, stay tuned for a bit more content. If you want to get a bit more content, head to patreon.com/rantcast to see how you can get involved. Thank you very much to everyone who has done that. Everyone else, we'll see you next week.
Bye now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.